And welcome back to the EDH Jank Center, your source for everything Commander and everything Jank. I am your host, Jordan or Prairies, I answer to either. So, you've just gotten into Magic, but there's also like a lot of stuff to learn and you're feeling overwhelmed. Totally understandable. Also, the person next to you at your LGS just dropped a mana crypt that's worth more than the outfit you have on. Don't get freaked out just yet. Today, we're gonna build a deck that both helps you learn the game and is under $30 and can hold its own at most kitchen table Magic games. So if that sounds appealing to you, strap in and follow along. Today, we're building Odric Lunarch Marshal for under $30. Odric reads as follows. Odric Lunarch Marshal is 3 and a white, legendary creature human soldier from Shadows over Innistrad. At the beginning of each combat, creatures you control gain first strike until end of turn if a creature you control has first strike. The same is true for flying, death touch, double strike, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, skulk, trample, and vigilance, and he's a 3/3. Ooh man, that's a lot of keywords. I'm not gonna go over all of them individually and go into detail and explain each one. I want you to know that I'm building this deck so that you get to familiarize yourself with all these keywords as you play through the deck. Although if anyone wants a video of me explaining all the keyword abilities in Magic the Gathering, let me know in the comments and I might just do that. All right, with all that out of the way, let's get started, folks. The first card up today is Adarkar Valkyrie, 4 white snow creature angel from Cold Snap. Flying, vigilance, tap. When target creature other than Adarkar Valkyrie is put into a graveyard this turn, return that card to play under your control, and she's a 4/5. So this card has a pretty sweet effect. It's a theft effect in white, which you don't see very often, but that's why I love it. Having our commander out and staying on the field is crucial to our strategy, and this card provides little baby Odric with some protection. So someone pulls out a murder and tries to destroy him, it goes through, but then we tap Adarkar Valkyrie and then we bring him right back to the battlefield, and it's like nothing ever happened. But the even spicier play is that we get to steal our opponent's creatures if they die on the same turn. So someone's Eldrazi gets sniped, we can tap Adarkar Valkyrie and bring it back to our side of the field and wreak havoc. I just love having cards that do things, you know what I mean? Like our deck is combat focused and she has 2 amazing keywords that she'll end up gifting to all of our other creatures with Odric out on the field, but she also has that amazing recursion or theft ability that I just really love. All right, moving on to Crystalline Giant, 3 colorless mana artifact creature giant from Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose a kind of counter at random that Crystalline Giant doesn't have on it from among flying, first strike, death touch, hexproof, lifelink, menace, reach, trample, vigilance, and +1/+1. Put a counter of that kind on Crystalline Giant, and it's a 3/3. So Odric essentially stipulates that if one of our creatures has flying, he will give all of them flying on each combat. Thus, we need creatures with keywords, different keywords, so we can give all of our creatures a bunch of different keywords. Crystalline Giant has, I mean, look at all those. Look at them. That's like literally 10 million keywords. So in about 2 turn rotations, he could have menace and flying, lifelink and vigilance, and then we will give all of our creatures menace, lifelink, vigilance, whatever, with Odric, and that is quite spicy if I do say so myself. And who doesn't want a giant crystal guy in their deck? And he's literally so cute. I mean, look at his little head cock as he stares down at us. I want him to just pick me up. Pick me up. Ooh, man. Okay, let's move on. But before we move on, I want to just point out something that I forgot to say earlier is that Odric's ability triggers on each combat, which means it's not just ours that it triggers on. So if we have a flying creature and someone who's playing a flying tribal deck tries to swing out at us, Odric's going to give flying to all of our defending creatures and their attack will be essentially neutralized. And remember, that goes for each and every keyword that is listed on Odric. So that's first strike, trample, vigilance, etc., all happening on other people's combats as well. Speaking of combat, you're definitely going to want to have this card for your own combat. It's Angry Mob, 2 white summon mob from a set called The Dark. It has trample. During your turn, Angry Mob has power and toughness each equal to 2 plus the number of total swamps opponents control. During other turns, Angry Mob has power and toughness 2/2. Now I know this says this is an Angry Mob, but this card is kind of a house, dude. For 17 cents, we get something that enables trample with Odric on the board for all of our creatures in white, and in white there's not too many options like this, so I think this is a great include right off the bat. So on everyone else's turn, it's just a 2/2, which is fine because it enables trample. We just want it on the board to support our other creatures. However, on the off chance that our opponents are playing or running black in any way, shape, or form, they're probably going to have swamps. Black is a very common color in our format, so more than likely, you're going to be buffing this up to a 5/5, 6/6, 10/10, who knows? So for 17 cents, you're getting something that enables trample for your entire board, as well as being a potential beater later in the game as you amass creatures with different keywords. Odric makes this into a 10/10 trampling, flying, first striker, or what have you. Are there better cards out there? Sure. but this is the EDH Jank Center, baby, so we're not worried about all that. Also, I think for the price point, this card has a lot of value and a lot of great upside, because on the off chance that one of your opponents is running mono black, for example, they are in for one very angry night. All right, up next, we got Oketra's Monument. 3 colorless mana, legendary artifact from Amonkhet. White creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with vigilance. So this one's kind of a no-brainer. If you're casting white creature spells, which we are in this deck, it's our main strategy, we want things that help support that strategy, so this card is a great cost reducer. And you might be thinking, well, 1 mana is not that great of a reduction, but let me tell you, let me give you a little example. So in an aggro strategy, you want to flood the board with creatures and be swinging out all the time. So in order to make that happen, we need to be casting a lot of creatures. If we have 4 mana and Oketra's Monument out, all of our 2-drops in our hand that we could only play 2 of, now we can play 4 of because they're all 1-drops. That's double the amount of creatures, double the amount of potential damage you could be dealing to your opponents, and it scales up from there. You can see how this would be great. And then on top of that, as if it couldn't get any better, you get 1/1 creature tokens with vigilance as you cast each creature spell. This is even better than any department store sale you've ever heard of. You're getting 2-for-1 creatures, kiddos. Get this card. Oh, you want more creatures? I got you. We got Cather's Call coming up next. 2 and a white enchantment aura from Innistrad Midnight Hunt. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has vigilance, and at the beginning of your end step, create a 1/1 white human creature token. So this is a great enchantment because it gifts vigilance to one of our creatures, and then Odric can give all of our creatures vigilance as well, so that when we attack, we don't have to tap our creatures. We're not open to damage on the crackback. We still have blockers up. But the ability we care even more about is that free token generation at the beginning of our end step. Tokens are going to be how we win our games. We're going to be buffing all of our creatures up with lots of keywords, hopefully with lots of +1/+1 counters or power buffs as well, and destroying our opponents with big swings of damage. And we need lots and lots of tokens. And so paying 3 mana to get just continual token generation is amazing. Coming up next is our cheapest card of the day. It's Skycrier, 1 and a white creature bird citizen from Streets of New Capenna. It has flying and lifelink. You can pay 3 and 1 white. You and target opponent each draw a card, and it's a 1/1. So first of all, this card is under 10 cents, so EDH Jank Center, baby, let's go. But more importantly, this card does 2 very important things for us in our strategy, which is gift 2 separate keywords to all of our creatures, and it helps us with card draw. So giving our creatures lifelink especially is really important because we are going to be swinging out. Sometimes we won't have vigilance, so we are going to be taking damage from our opponents who are trying to attack us back. And lifelink on all of our creatures at the same time can help us gain a ton of life back and make it safe for us to be swinging out at people. And listen, there are absolutely way better ways to draw cards in white nowadays, but they're all relatively expensive, and for under $30, I think this is a great option. You can also politic. If someone's thirsty for some card draw as well, you can be like, hey, don't attack me, and I'll let you draw a card off Skycrier. Okay, let's get a move on before I make a larger fool of myself. All right, coming up next, we got Darksteel Juggernaut, 5 colorless mana, artifact creature, Juggernaut from Scars of Mirrodin. Darksteel Juggernaut's power and toughness are each equal to the number of artifacts you control. Darksteel Juggernaut is indestructible and attacks each turn if able. Hey, want to ensure that all your creatures don't die when you're swinging them out at your opponents all the time? Well, boy, howdy, is this the card for you. Yeah, it's pretty simple. So you just play this card, it's indestructible, so Odric on combat will make all of your creatures indestructible. That's on your turn and on everyone else's turn, so you can have indestructible blockers and indestructible attackers. Very sweet, very spicy. On second reading, I don't know if this is just saying it is indestructible and it doesn't actually have the keyword indestructible, but if that's the case and you can't include this card in the deck, then Darksteel Myr will do the trick as well. Next up, we have Reverent Hoplite, 4 and a white creature human soldier from Theros Beyond Death. When Reverent Hoplite enters the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens equal to your devotion to white. Each white pip in the mana costs of permanents you control counts towards your devotion to white, and it's a 1/2. So in this deck, we are going to be playing a lot of creatures with a lot of white pips and their mana costs, so this is a great way to just bring out a bunch of creatures all at once. This can be used as a wall of blockers or as a final attack on one of your opponents. And as Darksteel Juggernaut gives them indestructible and Odric gives them double strike from like Fencing Ace or something, you'll be smiling because that mana crypt won't look at all scary when your opponent's staring down a bunch of double striking indestructible little soldier boys. Speaking of Soldier Boy, if you're liking this video so far, how about you crank that like and subscribe? Support like that helps the channel keep going, and honestly, I'm so grateful for all of you who have watched this far and who have subscribed and commented on all my videos prior. I really do appreciate so much of the support. And hey, if you have any ideas on how to upgrade this deck or any ideas on what deck you'd like to see me build next, drop it down in the comments. I'm always down there responding to you guys, so come on down and geek out with us. All right, the first of our last two cards is Basilisk Collar, 1 colorless mana artifact equipment from Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. Equipped creature has Death Touch and Lifelink, and it has Equip 2. So this one's pretty simple. Like I said earlier about Angry Mob and Trample in mono white, there's not a lot of ways to give creatures Death Touch in mono white, but that's where Basilisk Collar comes in. This copy is the only copy that is under $1, so you guys should scoop this up. A bunch of Death Touching, trampling first strikers can be very, very deadly. And look at this good little boy who's got the collar on. I mean, why wouldn't you want him in your deck? All right, our last card on the list is Bond of Discipline, 4 and a white sorcery from War of the Spark. Tap all creatures your opponents control. Creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. So this card, folks, is what is known at the EDH Jank Center as a finisher. Damn, honestly, did you guys hear that? I honestly didn't even know I could make that noise. Anyways, this card has won me a couple games in my time as a commander player, and I just love it. For 5 mana, you're tapping down all creatures your opponents control, not just one target opponent. All creatures, all of your opponents control. You're giving all your creatures lifelink so you can gain a bunch of life, and this is a great way to finish all of your opponents off at once if you can manage it. Speaking of being finished, that is what I am right now. I just want to thank you all for watching again, and if you really enjoy the content, make sure you check out the Patreon. We've got lots of cool stuff going on in the EDH Jank Center Patreon, so make sure you check that out. The link is in the description. We've got a Discord where we chat about cards, we organize spell table games, we've also got monthly polls where you guys get to decide what I make next. And all that support helps me make more videos for you all. And with that being said, guys, I'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching.